I'd like to welcome everybody here, a little special edition here at MustangsTV.com here in the barn. Hate to say it maybe for the last time, here with Coach Greg Tips. We got with KJ, got with Coach Tips here, decided we kind of have a little way of allowing Coach Tips to say his thanks and his appreciation for everybody and kind of give us a last moment with Coach to pass on our appreciation and congratulations and you know, just everything that he's done, not only for us, but for the players here, for the community. And we just wanted to take this time and do a little video here so everybody can be a part of it, watch it themselves, and go from there. So we got Coach Tips here. Coach, 7 seasons here at Loretta. We've all enjoyed it. We talked here off camera, very successful 7 seasons, and just kind of turn over here a little bit and let you.
It's been fun. Been a fun 7 years. Hard to believe this is my last interview with Mustangs TV. How long? I don't know how long Kyle's been doing it. I guess 4 or 5 years.
Probably at least 4 years, I would say.
And it's been fun. I appreciate y'all's coverage. It's hard to believe 7 years has gone. I do want to greatly appreciate the community. When Brendan and I moved here 7 years ago, we knew no one in this community. No one at the school. We didn't know anyone. I really appreciated Mr. Daniels for David Daniels for hiring me 7 years ago, and it's just been a wonderful place to teach, wonderful place to coach, wonderful place to raise a son, and it's a place that, in all honesty, that I kind of consider home, even though it's despite just being here 7 years. Kind of look at my life as I was born and raised pretty much in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and graduated from Moore County High School. But it's kind of, I told the faculty the other day that they had a baby shower for Paige and I, that I've kind of looked, this is kind of my home now. When I come back to homecoming football games, in September or October, whenever they get a schedule, I'm going to be sure to bring Brendan back here. This place is it's really adopted me, and it's been a fun place to coach. It's been a fun place to coach. It's taken a lot of hard work. When I got here, a lot of people can say a lot of things about me. Some will say good, some will say bad, and that's fair. It's probably warranted. But one thing they can't say is that for 7 years, that every day that I woke up, we weren't trying to get Loretta High School girls basketball on the map in that seven years. I mean, that was our goal. That was one of the reasons that I was so intrigued about this job, was because I knew what had taken place in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And then they had some success in the 80s and 90s leading up to that, and in the early 2000s. But we wanted to get this place back to where, when you thought of high school girls basketball, that Loretta was one of those schools you thought about. And for 7 years, I tried to work my tail off to get this place back there. And we're there, and it's because of the girls that we had. I'm not the easiest coach to play for. Not every girl that's come through Loretta High School could play for me, and that's the way it ought to be. But those girls who could, we're in debt. Our success that we've had is in large part because not only their ability, but the way they took coaching. We were talking off camera. Our graduating seniors this year just finished up the most successful 4-year run of any player that's come through here since 1979. Those players don't get there without me being super demanding and super hard-nosed. And I don't get to go to those state tournaments if we don't have some talented girls that can take coaching and that are tough-minded and that are good basketball players. And our seniors that this year, they are as tough as any group as I can imagine. I can't even imagine coaching a better group than them. And they learn from other players. I'll never forget, the first time seeing Abby Laws play at a summer camp game. Before I even got the job, I went and watched them. And Abby might correct me after she watches this. She might send me a text, but I don't believe they won a game that summer. I saw a lot of potential in that group. And just every day working with them, and then being able to get to their senior year, where we had some struggles trying to build it. The year before I got here, they won 6 games and won 1 district game. So it was a struggle, it was a process. But players like Abby, Becca Curtis, they bought in, and then they kind of patched Elizabeth Hemmond, coming through, Becca Brody coming through. Then we get Haley Farrington that comes over, and kind of puts us over the top to where, okay, wow, we're a state tournament team. And then they pass the torch to Kayla Santiago and Daisy and Ashley, who I'd worked with since they were in 6th grade. You know, when I was at Leoma, and coaching here, but teaching at Leoma, we had AAU teams that we would run in the spring with those girls in the 6th grade. And it's just those players that I would consider players that I would, you know, my foxhole type of kids that I want with me through any tough times, because of the way they were able to play through tough times and get us to where they got us. Those girls, and this program is because of them and the way that they're talented, but not only are they talented, they're tough-minded, you know, and they don't mind getting yelled at. They don't mind being challenged. And they had, you know, parents that supported them through that. They supported me through that, even if all the time they weren't happy about it. And that's why this group overachieved this past year. That's why we were able to break through and get to the state tournament, you know, 4 years ago. And it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride. There's been some tough times. And I've been lucky enough to have an administration that was very supportive. And it was a long process. I know KJ and some of my really good, you know, here at Mustangs TV, and back when it was like, are we ever going to get over the hump? You know, have players quit, have, you know, all this stuff, have injuries that seemed to derail us a lot early on. And then for us to get through it to the state tournament 4 years ago was just wow. You know, and I'll never forget that. But you know, just appreciate everybody for everything that they've done. You don't get to the state tournament, you don't have those successes without the administration support, without the fan support, without the parents support, and without the players buying in. And now it's just, you know, kind of starting all over, I guess, going someplace else. But a bunch of great memories here.
It takes a special player and a special group of players and fans and parents, and as we talked about, banners hanging on the wall. You know, 3 banners from state tournament from '79 to 2004, and then all of a sudden in a 4-year stretch, you know, we got 2 up there now. We're gonna add another one after this Final Four run that we had, and you look back a little bit and you say, where did the time go? You know, and it goes by quickly, and as we said, very successful and very special as we got to see this year. My first year being full-time here with Mustangs TV, you know, we got a little bit more access with the girls, and of course we always appreciated that, being able to talk with them and get a little bit behind the scenes. And the more you get around those girls, you see just how special they are, and it was never about one, it was about all.
Right.
And that's just something that it shined through, you know, with interviews after the game, especially if they're at that state tournament. I mean, you knew it was a special bunch, and they always stayed together.
They always did. I mean, and it's just, I don't know, words can't, I don't know, I'm about to get teary-eyed just thinking about it. You know, those, looking at 2 of the pictures, we'll have a 3rd picture up, but just all those players, everything they put into the program to get it to where they got it, you know, and then this year, you know, they learned so much from those other 2 teams that went to the state tournament, this group of seniors did, from those girls that got them there, and then they just completely bought in. I mean, it's 3 basketball teams that I'll never forget for different reasons. The one in 2010, 2011, we were really good. You know, we were a really good basketball team that was the 4th year of a lot of hard work, you know, and we were able to get there, and we had the toughest road you could possibly go through. Had to beat some #1 teams in the state. We beat the eventual state champion in the region finals, beat a Moore County team who I think went to the state finals the year before, beat them in here in the sub-state, which we'll talk about that game later on. And that group of girls that was able to break through and get us there, it was just amazing. The 2011-2012 team, we had some struggles. We just couldn't get it together all year, but we had a group of seniors in Elizabeth and Haley Farrington, and some young girls that followed them, but they weren't going to not let us get back to the state tournament where they were the year before. And then we came through in the region tournament, just started playing like gangbusters, and then got it back. The next year we never clicked. Didn't have it. Didn't have it in the locker room. Didn't have it on the floor. We didn't have it last year. The year before last. in this group of seniors, we got together, we came up with some programs to get them in the gym more. And those seniors and that entire basketball team, the entire basketball team had no choice to buy in. The seniors weren't going to let them not buy in. They had a good group of juniors in Savory and Riley who was there and had their back. And this year's team is just, if you would have told me that we were going to go to the Final Four at the beginning of the year, I would have called you nuts. And that's just me shortchanging my players a little too much. And I learned a lot from that. We got there this year because of the work they put in the off season. They were going to work as hard as they possibly could. And then they carried over into the season, and the type of character this group of girls had, they were just going to be successful. It didn't matter. It didn't matter who we were going to play, where we were going to play. They were going to get us to the state tournament. I'll never forget Ashley Johns and Kayla. When Kayla got named all-district, or got district MVP, and Ashley made all-district, and I was posing for a picture with them at Wayne County, and they said, "Coach, we're going to the state tournament." And I'm thinking, you're nuts. It's a tough road to hoe. You just don't know. And it was just, they knew. And I learned a lot from that group. So all 3 state tournaments had different identities, different challenges. The one thing that all 3 had, though, and I've talked with one of my assistants, Ronnie Ritter, about it, is these girls, they bought in and trusted me. With their heart, with their mind. Coach Tips might lead us down the wrong path. He might be an idiot. He's too hard on us. It didn't matter. Those 3 teams trusted me with everything they had. And because of that, they got rewarded. Not because of the job I did. You can have a guy that don't know anything about the game, but if all the players think they do, and they get along and they push each other, and they're not going to be denied, then you're going to have success. So all 3 of those teams, those are 3 teams that I will literally, I don't know how much longer I coach, I hope it's 30 more years. I will never forget those 3 basketball teams. I will never forget the players on there, especially the leaders on those teams, the ones that you can count on through thick and thin. I'll never forget the roar of this gym hosting the sub-state game, or hosting Summertown, or hosting those people where it's a big rivalry and you get on the roll. And I'll never forget the roar of this gym. It's a special roar that you don't get in every gym. So lots of good memories.
And it says a lot about the seniors because they came out hot early in the year. I think 6, 7, 8-0, and then they got in a stretch where shots wouldn't fall. Teams kind of maybe changed up strategy, played us a little bit different, packed it in a little bit. And there were times throughout the year where they could have packed it in.
Right.
They could have given up and quit. And as you said, the seniors, they decided they didn't want to go out like that.
Right.
And I can remember being down, against Wayne County over there. I think it was 15-1 in the first quarter. Go into halftime, and we got a 1-point lead. It was a complete role reversal. And then me and Kyle sitting there on the broadcast that had timeouts, and we're going, seriously? Is this really happening? Are we really watching? And I think as the season goes on, there were criticism when the team maybe wasn't playing well. But as you continue to watch, not only did they believe,
right.
They made us believe.
Right.
And you could see it in the play, you could see it after the game, and the excitement and the hard work not only put on the floor, but in the classroom, watching film, taking notes, and coming out and just completely executing on the floor whatever game plan they had. We had many interviews off camera where you talked about how district coaches would say, your girls follow through the game plan. They're so patient. They wait till they get what they want instead of just taking the first thing that comes along. Right. And it's just a testament of, like you said, the girls buying in and just never quitting. They had the heart of a champion and just a terrific run all the way to that Final Four.
Yeah, this past year's team, we were limited. Every basketball team nowadays is limited. You don't find perfect basketball teams. It took this year's team. We got off hot. They spent so much time in the off season, all the shooting and stuff, and we got out shooting hot. And then like you said, we got cold. And then we were going to have to find our niche, our style. And sometimes that's tough as a coach because sometimes that when you put in a style, it may not be what everybody likes. And the past couple of teams that we've had to get to the state tournament, that first team, that was a pretty basketball team. We could score, we could do things, and they had their niche. The last couple of teams we've went to the state tournament, it wasn't the most enjoyable to watch. But you go, okay, it's fun to watch, but we end up getting beat at the end, or it's not so fun to watch, but we're putting our girls in the best chance to be successful. But the ironic thing was that everything about us, sometimes it wasn't fun watching us on film either, from my standpoint. But the one thing that I kept remembering, when we finally found our niche, sometimes it wasn't the most fun to watch, but who had the least amount of fun of watching us and preparing for us was the teams that we were going against. They hated the style that we were playing. They hated how patient we were. They hated that we were going to take good shots. They hated the way we finally got to where we were defending. And it's sometimes, that's why I just have so much respect for the girls that fully bought in. And, I'm relying on them to buy in for us to get personal success. Because coaches, we have ego. We want to, when we walk around, we want to be going to the state tournament. We want coaches, we want our peers to appreciate the job we do. So I'm relying on them to buy into what I'm selling, and they're relying on me to sell them the right thing. And the girls that just were bought in, those, you're going to remember all the players, but quite honestly, those players that bought in and that could take your program to another level, not only because of their athletic ability, but their mental ability, they're ultimately the players that you're never going to forget. And I've been very fortunate to coach a lot of those players in the last 7 years. And without those kids, we're not talking about, 3 out of 4 years. And the good thing is, those players aren't going anywhere. Haley Farrington is working with younger kids here in the community. Elizabeth Emmon is working with younger kids in this community. Ashley Johns and Kayla Santiago and Daisy. Daisy has a younger sister that's coming up here that I was really looking forward to coaching. They're going to be still, those kids that are coming up, there's a lot of talent coming, and they were able to see successful basketball teams. So I think that tradition is going to continue.
This year had to go a little bit different route as opposed to the other two, where we had to go on the road and win in the sub-state. And those first 2 times we got to play here at home, and I'll never forget that first sub-state game against Moore County. Everybody was packed in, and you could just, intensity, it was just live and die, it seemed like, with the fans every time down the floor. Yeah. And kind of let us in on the inside. What is that like, coaching and being a part of the game to where, as a fan, you live and die with every shot, every trip. What is it like on the sideline when you got that pressure pack?
It's fun, first of all, it's fun, but that game we had just beaten Wayne County in the region finals. So we got to come here, and Moore County Reds got upset, and they were, I think, tied for number 1, maybe with Wayne County, or they were right there at number 1 and number 2, and had a Miss Basketball finalist, and it was a really good basketball team. Made state finals the year before, and I think lost 1 player off that team. They were the favorite to win it. And so we get them here, and I didn't care. I think people wondered if I was going to be upset. Man, you got Moore County, y'all won, and you got the bad draw. I didn't care. That team had worked so hard. Our dream was to get to the state tournament, so we were 1 game away. You don't care who you play, as long as you're playing somebody. And I knew one thing. I knew that whoever was going to play us in the barn with the fan support we were going to have was going to have to be a lot better than us, so they were going home. And that game had some other meanings to me because I'd played and coached at Moore County before. So everybody, I knew the people on Moore County's side better than I knew the fans on Loretta's side. And so it was that was kind of ironic. And then I'll never forget before the game, I put everything I had, and those players, a lot of them, the seniors, had put everything in they had for 4 years to get to that moment. And I'll never forget one of my assistants, Greg Swan, who's now our assistant principal. We come here, and it's an hour before game time, and this place is packed. And I love games like that. That's just, I feel like that's when I coach my best. That game right there, though, before that game, Coach Swan and I, we had to take a walk through the school. And we're sitting back there on the bench, I guess back there near Andy Augustine's room. And we're sitting right there, and we had to come to Jesus meeting. It was really about just some, I don't know what you would even call it, but we had to get things in perspective. and talk, because, I was adrenaline, and the adrenaline was kicking, more nerves than I think I've ever had as a basketball coach. And I'd never experienced anything like that, to where it was 4 years. I felt like an Olympian. You train all that time for 4 years, and you're playing against a dang good basketball team, and you've got kids that have worked like crazy to get there, and you've worked like crazy, and our fans support that year. Our students, they deserve to go to Murfreesboro. Everybody here deserved to go to Murfreesboro, and I'll never forget that feeling before that game. I mean, it was something else. It was something else. So finally, Swan and I, we collected ourselves, and we come in, and I'll be doggone if we don't come out here and we've got them guarded perfect. We're guarding the scores. We're not guarding the non-scores, and their non-scores are making everything. I mean, we got the ones we want taking the shots, and they're making them. We've got our girls that we want to take the shots, taking them, and we're missing them. And we get down a lot, 13-1 or 13-2 or something, and they got it rolling, and then we get on a little bit of run. We start making some points, scoring some baskets, and then you look up and we finally got it going. We're down 27-13, but we stuck with it. We go into the half down by 8, and I'll just never forget it. I mean, we're in there, we don't really have to make a lot of adjustments. We're getting better shots than what they were, I thought. And we're coming out, and Abby and Becca Curtis and Abby Laws are walking out arm in arm, and they're chanting. And some of the other girls picked up on it behind. We're walking from the locker room, down by 8, going to state, down by 8, going to state, down by 8. And I'm just like, wow, okay. We come out, and it's just nip and tuck. We're finding a way, and we're winning enough possessions along the way. And then when we got it down to 3, I guess it was something, I don't even remember, sometime probably in the 4th quarter. I mean, it was just, we're down 3, and there is no doubt. I don't even think in the bleachers, I know on the sideline, on the players, there was no doubt we were winning that basketball game. And I think they were up 27-13, and I think they ended up with 35 or 36 points. We had them locked down the whole night. It's just that their players that couldn't shoot were making them early, and they weren't making them late. And we did a great job. I mean, that was another case of buying in. I put Elizabeth Hemmond on their all-state post player. Some people would have, what do you put Elizabeth Hemmond? No, I'm Gardner. Not only am I Gardner, I'm shutting her down. We had Becca Brody Garden, the Miss Basketball finalist, and Becca gave, I think the girl had 6 points all night. The girl averaged 17 or 18. It was just Haley Farrington stepping up huge the second half. Abby doing what Abby does, which is make some tough shots. Kayla Santiago is a freshman. We played 6 kids in that ball game, in the sub-state game. Kayla Santiago just stepping in and doing a great job, and then we're in the state tournament. That's one that I'll never forget.
I'll never forget a moment is seeing the Haley Farrington miss free throw. Nobody moves, and she steps up, gets her own, laying it in, and I think everybody in the stands at that point said, "It's over." Right. It's over. We're going to Murfreesboro. We're going to Murfreesboro. We beat a Jackson County team that absolutely nobody gave us a chance of winning that game, and it just seemed like the game plan that played out, the girls executed it to a T. Right. And it was a huge win.
Right, that was one of those, it's another one that you take a chance of. Jackson County, they were just a great team. A lot of people thought we'd win it. And then we're nip and tug. They don't shoot the ball great. And then I think we were long, that team. We had some long players. I think our length hurt them. And then when Kayla Santiago, well, how about when Ashley Johns, we needed a shooter. She hadn't played in a couple of games. Put her out there, she catches it, she passes it. And I'm screaming at her from one end of the floor, "I'll put you in to shoot it." She catches that ball the next time, nothing but net, makes her a 3. Kayla Santiago, as a freshman, gets an and 1. Go into the 4th quarter to put us up 4. And boy, that we knew then, okay, Haley Farrington, the big girl, that's not a matchup for them. We're gonna hold it. That's a chance right there that your girls could say, "What are we holding it for?" Well, what if this backfires? What if it does? There was no what ifs. All right, we're holding it, and we're going to do that as good as we can do it. And Haley embarrassed her, and our lead swells from up 1 with 5 or 6 seconds left. We get to end 1, we're up 4. The next thing you know, we win by 22. The unfortunate thing was that North Green game. We shot the ball poorly. They got on the roll. If there's one game in my tenure that I would like to have back, it's that North Green. I could have done a much better job in that game. Abby Laws and Becca Curtis were up all night. That's not to make excuses, but the bottom line is those 2 girls were our primary ball handlers, and they had the stomach virus the night before, didn't get a lot of sleep. That's one that I don't think I'll never forget, because we should have been in that state finals, and we play a Wayne County team that we had beaten twice that year, and the way they were defending us, I really thought as the year went on, we started figuring it out better. I really would like to have that one back. That's the one good thing I'm glad about not coaching here anymore. I don't have to go to Wayne County and see that banner and go, oh, we should have brought home. But what a year! I mean, special year. A lot of good memories, and the black hole that year. I mean, can you have a better student section? I mean, everybody was nuts. Everybody was so hungry for us to be there, and that team, they played the right way. They were unselfish. I mean, it's just. It was a special year. Have the pictures, have them framed. Thanks to Kyle, he was doing his photo thing back there. I mean, unbelievable coverage. But those memories will just always, be there in the forefront, because we've got so much pictures and footage of it. I know it's something that those girls will never forget. Abby and Becca and Elizabeth and Haley, they had worked so hard. I'm not easy to play for, but I think that makes them appreciate it. I think that makes them tougher than when they got in those pressure moments. We talked about it. All the pressure I put on them, it can either bust you, it can either, bust the pipes, or it can make diamonds. And it takes it's hit or miss. Some players can't handle it and you lose them. They quit. But, ultimately, are those the players that you can make diamonds out of anyways to win a big ball game? I don't think so. And we've been fortunate to have enough players that you get the pressure and make diamonds out of them because of the character they had. And that first one was special.
So out of 7 years, and it's hard to go through all the different games and talk about the big games, but what's one that you probably is your favorite game that you've had as a coach that you maybe enjoyed the most or got the most satisfaction and gratitude out of?
There's different ones. I remember the first 2 games here. They won 6 games the year before and graduated 3 pretty good seniors. And coaching against Lincoln County. My brother's coaching the boys. Lincoln County had a good friend of mine does a great job. Herman Harden was coaching the girls, and they're a 3A school. And we found a way to win that first one. We're 1-0. So then, congratulations, you get Summertown coming in here. Second game with the Lovett girl, and they were a very good team. Had a couple of college basketball players on that team, and we threw out a jump defense in the fourth quarter to hold Lovett down because she was looking to take over. And we found a way to beat Summertown, and which at the time Lawrence County and Summertown they had it going. So those first 2 games stand out a lot because that was my introduction to Loretta girls basketball. That was my introduction to the barn, and I'll never forget those 2. And then, I'll never forget the day Kinsley Williams came in and quit to focus on volleyball. And I call a buddy of mine who's coaching college basketball, and I'm usually peppy when I talk to him because he's a good buddy. He's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Uh-oh, what's wrong?" I said, "Well, I'm afraid 15 wins." Just walked out of my office. Because I really thought we had a chance to go to that state tournament her senior year. Because Abby, she would have been our leading scorer. Then we have Abby and Becca Curtis and them and Elizabeth as a sophomore. That's a pretty good basketball team. I think we would have broke through a year before. But, in that 2011 team, there's the battles with, every time I drive by Mount Pleasant, I still think about pulling out of there when we were region champions. Just the emotion that went with that, like we did that, and then you drive 5 miles and it's like, all right, we got a sub-state game, we got to win, and that Moore County game will always be special. The fans, I've got pictures of them carrying me off on the shoulders, and the players up on the ladder cutting down the nets, and just the enjoyment that you see from Abby and Becca Because I can be a slave driver sometimes, you know, and when you see them get to that point with everything they went through, all the times of pushing Abby, the times that I remember she wanted to quit when I was pushing her through a defensive drill. She knows the one I'm talking about if she's watching this, because we've talked about it before. You know, you see the times you're running Elizabeth Emmon till her tongue falls out because she's 5 minutes late for practice because you want to set a certain standard, not only for her, but everybody else that's in your program. When you see them be able to cut the nest down and get to the state tournament, I mean, that's what I'll never forget. We had big wins. This year's team didn't even wait on me. When we had big wins in the past, we would go in, or I would usually say, okay, girls, here we go. Let's do our screen. But we had a tradition here when we had a big win, and, it was a screen. We just went in there and we peeled the walls back with the screen. Early on, we screamed more because every win was big. And this, as you go along, it's fewer and farther between because you get to where you expect to win those. But this year we had a lot of screams. So that 2011-2012 team, and we're taking on an unbelievable Summertown team who went to the Final Four that year and was ranked top 2 or 3 all year. And we go over and we played them in the region finals at Wayne County, and they could play. And we go over there, and Elizabeth and Haley, Becca, and all the girls that were on that team were not going to let us lose to Summertown, and we beat that Summertown team, and that's one I'll never forget because I didn't know really how we did it. I mean, I had that much respect for the job that Coach McGill does at Summertown and for the way those girls were playing. That game right there was super special. The 2011 the Moore County game I was talking about, and then beating Jackson County there. I've got a picture that I think Kyle took or somebody took, Tina Blaze, somebody took. I've got it framed. I'm having my head down as I'm walking off the court, and I'm just smiling ear to ear because Kyle got that. I'm just walking down. I'm just walking out of Murphy Center. Just, man, what a ride these players have taken me on. And it's just something that you'll never forget. Last year's team, I don't remember. It just wasn't a lot of fun for anybody. But still managed to get to the region semis. Region semis is, it's not a bad year. And got beat by a great Summertown. They were better than us. If we would have been in the right frame of mind and had things taken care of in our own house, you never can tell how that game goes. Might not even be playing in the game. Might be playing somebody else. But in this year's team, I mean, it's just, started spring of last year. We started the Lady Mustangs Olympics. We've got kids in here shooting 50, 60,000 shots as a team. That's special. We go to camp, some of the time we looked okay, a lot of times we looked bad. Jeez, start thinking, man, what do we got coming up? Because this year may not, you just don't know. Right? Get off to a hard start. I was trying to tell people, guys, we're not that good right now, but heck, you ride the wave, we might have got to, I don't know what we got to, but we got to 10-1, 9-2, something like that, pretty good. But we've never worried about records. There's a lot of people that's got better, as seniors that have better records than what I have, but they don't win them when it counts. Who cares about them? You want to win them, but you're coaching for February in basketball, especially in our league. But this year's team, it started at the end of January and February. We had the pressure on us. You're playing for seeding, you're playing for all that stuff, and we managed to beat Summertown in here. We had to beat Wayne County on the road to get the seeding that we wanted to in the tournament. And then played decent in the district tournament, didn't shoot the ball well against Collin, against a very talented, probably the most talented team in the league, Collinwood. They found a way to beat us in the district semis. Played the district finals. I didn't care. I didn't really want to win. Yeah, I'd rather be the 4 coming out of our district than the 3 any day. So, other than just wanting to win, but found ourselves in a good spot in the region tournament. Went over the corners when we were cooking. They didn't have a chance. Our mindset, our girls are just so much more mentally tough than those teams over there. They didn't have a chance. And then for that region semis, we're down 15-1. People wonder why there's other ways. There's more than my way of coaching ain't the only way. They may hire a coach that can come in here and just giggle with them, and they can get the same result. And I hope for my girls, I hope they find that coach, because then I know my girls are taken care of. they're getting a laugh all the time, they're having fun, and they're being successful in the tournament. So I hope they can find that type. I can't do that. And you try to get them to be so mentally tough, 15-1, and I don't remember calling the timeout, that we may have called one, I don't remember it. Second quarter, we owned it, you know, on their home court, against a team that was so much bigger than us, it's not even funny at almost every spot. And then the second half, you know, we didn't play great, we didn't make shots, causing everybody a heart attack when we held the ball for 1 minute and 15 seconds. Down one, were we down? Yep. We were going to get our shot, you know, because you hate to take a bad one there, and you have to foul them the way they shot free throws that night. Then you're down 3, then it's a struggle. And then, you know, we found a way. Then we talked about it off air. The basketball IQ of my players, the way we defend screens, the way, I mean, we could write a book, and they got notebooks. We keep notebooks. The way we defend different things, and I'm just screaming, I'm just yelling at them in a timeout, or yelling at them in a game, go under, go over, step out, switch this, stuff that most people don't understand that goes into the context of the game. Our girls know it on cue, and it's just 7 years of me working with those kids. They know a lot of things that Coach Tips is going to ask, and they were able to get it. When we go into overtime, I guess, and we come out with a defense that we've never ran. We'd ran it in full court, but we had never backed it up and ran it there. And we able to, I mean, I guess we owned the overtime. Yes. You know, they didn't, you know, and got us some breathing room, and we won that ball game. Got beat in the region finals by a team that was a little more talented than we were, but we had our chances. We had our chances to win that basketball game. And then we go to the sub-state playing against a community team that was 24-6 or 26-4, had a girl averaging 19 a game. I tell you, we go over there and there's 1,500 people. I guess 1,400 of them are theirs. Y'all spoiled people. They don't have to come to our games. They watch the great coverage on Mustangs TV. And I'm just kidding. But it was just, I mean, I've never coached in a game that I had that few of people behind our team. And what's interesting about that community game is I'm a man-to-man guy. This year our man-to-man defense stunk for the first 3 quarters of the year. So we're having to try all this trickery, zone stuff. We played community in the Christmas tournament at their place. And they were 10-1. And their only loss was by 3 or 4 to a Creekwood team that went to the state semis in AA. So they were very good. We beat them 39-35 by playing half-court zone and trapping them and pressing them. We held them to 35 points, and they were averaging the mid-50s. So my game plan for that sub-state game is I'm thinking, we're playing man. Then I'm thinking, Tips, what are you doing? You held them to 35, 20 below their average by not playing a single possession, maybe 2 possessions of man the whole game. Why are you considering playing them man now? Our girls could have been thinking the same thing. But no, we're riding with what Coach Tips says. We go out there and we hold them to 31, playing man and never press them and never try, maybe 1 or 2 possessions of that trap. And knowing it's just, our girls have their backs against the wall, we come out, there's fans, I mean everywhere, they're chanting their names, they're making fun of them. You know, and the one thing we talked about was we're not playing for we're not playing for the fans as far as, okay, there's 1,500 fans against us, who cares? We're ultimately, in everything we do, playing for an audience of 1. And we put that on our t-shirt. Who cares which team has the most people? We're going to have the fans that are there for us are going to have our back. And the fans that were there were extremely loud for us. Who cares if they've got them outnumbered? They can only put 5 on the court. And that was a game that we dominated the first 5 minutes of every quarter. And then it was just 3 or 4 plays that they were so explosive that let them back in it. And it looked like we were going to find a way to lose it. And every time when it got down the stretch in those big games that we had to win, every time we looked like we were going to find a way to lose it, somebody stepped up and found a way to win it. Daisy Huntley diving and tapping it or something. Like somebody diving and tapping, falling on the floor, getting a loose ball. Ashley Johns making the game winner. You know, it's just, and then the celebration after that one in the locker room was just, it was something else. It was something else.
Yeah, I know from that game, we were just glad, I was personally, that we didn't have video for that game. All we had was audio, because late in the game, in the fourth quarter, I think there might have been 30 seconds left, and we replayed it back. Girl gets in the lane, goes up to shoot, and before it ever even hits the rim, I mistakenly say, it's no good. And luckily, it hits the rim and rolls off, and I'm there going, and the timeout, I'm going, wow, I got lucky right there. And as you said, they go down, great play, set up for Ashley. She works down in the post from the elbow down, spins around up and good, and then from there, it's just free throws.
I mean, that shows another play that we've never ran. Just draw it up out of the timeout, and they execute it perfectly. Hit their landmarks on the floor. They were right where they need to be. And then Ashley, I mean, she's just the type of kid you want to take that game winner. Then we go to the state tournament, and there's amazing. The coaches that I saw up there at the state tournament, it seems like it's always the same programs up there. And it was from the first year. Oh, running back, that's good. Right. Now they expect you to be there, which is a good feeling when you walk in as a coach. You run Loretta, and they're here all the time now. Because 3 out of 4 to a high school coach is all the time. And because it's so hard to get there. But then it's like, Jane, got a talented Dyersburg team, and y'all may be the worst team in here, and I'm thinking, we may be, but you don't know my kids, and we go over there to Dyersburg and playing the state tournament. What did we get down 16-4?
I think so, early. Down 10. I know we were down 10.
At least down 10.
I know we were down 10.
And our kids never wavered. We had to get some things fixed. We weren't playing, it. It wasn't like the Moore County Sub-State game where we were pretty much on point. It just came down to shots. We had to fix some things there. But, in halftime, I literally sat, and I'm normally up, and halftime of that game, I'm sitting down in a locker the whole time, just talking to our girls. Everything was so calm. I think that's the fun thing about a tournament run is you get such a mutual respect between player and coach and player, because they know you're putting everything you have into it, watching so much film, and you got so much respect for the players, because by that time they've come through your off season, they've come through the season, they've gone through the ups and downs, and they're hardened. They're battle tested, and you know that if we lose, it's not because we don't have what it takes. If we lose, it's not because we're not in the right place. It's you have so much respect, so everything was just so calm. And then our girls came out there, and we're down 2 or 3, 4 points there late in the fourth quarter, and I was talking to Summertown's coach McGill, and he said, I knew when y'all had it at that point in the fourth. He said, I was telling somebody, Tipsy's got them right where they want them. Loretta's got them right where they want them. Because, that was our game, and we found a way to win it. And, just them going in that sub-state game in the media room with the 4 seniors, y'all were there. Their composure, the way they answered questions. It was just, I was very impressed by them. I've been in that media room as a player at the state tournament. That's a lot of pressure for a high school senior. They handled it a whole lot better than what I did, which goes back to their upbringing and just the type of girls they are. In the Jackson County game, I was talking to the media of Murfreesboro, the guy that writes for the Day News Journal, Tom Krager, a good friend of mine, and everybody's interviewing the players by that time, and he's just kind of whispering, and he said, Coach, nobody thinks y'all have a chance. Mm-hmm. Greg, nobody thinks you have a chance against Jackson County. I think one of the West Tennessee media members mentioned something to him about, it's all for naught, they're not going to get through Jackson County, but our girls believed that we were going to get it. Through the whole game, Sabre getting in foul trouble, us missing some shots, them covering up Ashley, running a box and running some jump defense. Who would have thought last summer that one of the best teams in the state, Jackson County, was going to feel like they had to run a jump defense to beat little old Loretta in the state semis.
Who struggled to score points.
Right.
That was the kind of the moniker going in.
And they felt like they had to junk us. And it was effective, but we still got every shot we wanted, And if we just, and the thing about the free throw blockout is watching it on replay is, Kayla Santiago blocked out too well. and blocks their girl into one of ours as we're trying to block out the shooter. Maybe we were a step late blocking out the shooter. The ball went through a hole like that, and you just know that. We already, if they miss that free throw, we know what we're doing. We're pushing. We ain't calling a timeout because then we don't know what defense we're in. We're pushing that ball, hoping Savory Simone's probably gets it and gets a runner in the lane, or Ashley gets it on the kick out and gets something, or maybe Kayla Santiago finds a way to get a putback. I just really feel like we have a great chance to score that basketball. But, it's just an unbelievable year, and it's just, maybe this was a great team for me to go out on, because it was going to be hard for us to outdo this. Outside of winning the state championship, which can be done here, and we've got the players coming, they can be done here. Just so many memories, and it's going to be fun looking back on it. In this day and age now, it's hard for coaches, which I'm not everybody there at Loretta doesn't like me, and that's fine. But I think at least people respect it, that we've worked hard and what our program stands for. But I'm going to be able to, if our football team makes it to the Upper Cumberland and plays in a playoff game, I'm going to be able to put on a Loretta shirt and go cheer for them. Our girls basketball team, when they're back at the state tournament, I'm going to be able to wear a Loretta shirt and be right in the crowd and may come up and do play-by-play with y'all or something.
I think we can find a seat for Kyle.
Our boys basketball team, they have a chance. Their chances for them are limitless on what they can accomplish. I can put on a Loretta shirt, come back, and that's exciting for me, because nowadays as coaches you can't always do that, and so I'm excited about. I'm really excited about that, and just very appreciative of everyone here in the community.
Like you said, new steps, going to head to Storm Memorial, which is in Crossville. Kind of give us a quick background on them. School's been in existence for 8 years. They went to the state tournament 3 of the first 6 years of existence. They were there in 2012 when we were there. And I watched them play. They were extremely well coached. Coach Smith, who was there, had some health issues, so he had to give it up. He's still teaching at the school. I've been in quite a bit of contact with him over the last few weeks, just picking his brain about things. So they've had some success since those 6 seasons, 6 years where they went to the state tournament 3 out of 6. Last year they got beat. They went to 10 wins because they graduated 7 kids off that 2012 season. They went down to 10, and then they won 10 this past year, and they bumped up to 3A. They won 1 district game. There's so many parallels to what it reminds me of when I took this Loretta job. Their basketball tradition doesn't go back as long because their school hasn't been in existence, but 3 state tournaments in 8 years is not shabby. And so there's, in that Upper Cumberland, the Jackson counties, the Clark Ranges, the Livingston academies, the Cookvilles, the Uppermans, across the Cumberland counties, you can go down the list. That Upper Cumberland is just, it's a basketball, heaven. They love girls basketball. So, it's a new school, it's a beautiful school. The one thing that intrigued me about, I was happy here. I am happy here. I'm not leaving Loretta, and had been fortunate enough because of the hard work our girls had been fortunate enough to get some phone calls on some jobs, but just nothing really ever intrigued me. And then when I talked to the principal, he said, I remember talking to him on the phone and answering the phone and say, Coach, I'm here, I'm ready. I need to hire me a girls basketball coach. And you hear that, you're like, okay, and I need to go up there and check out their facilities, because they may be the best facilities in Tennessee. So I went up there and, didn't expect to go get the job. I talked to Coach Ritter about it. I said, I'm going to go up there. I knew they had, 40 or so applicants for the job. I'll just go up there and talk to them and see what they had to say. And then 2 days later, they offered me the job, and then went over the weekend. It was just so hard. Even everybody I've talked to, all the coaches I'm talking to, that's a great opportunity, because they had a lot of good coaches apply. All I'm thinking about over the weekend is, I want to leave Loretta. Just love it here. The people have been so good. You don't want to mess with happiness. It's hard to be happy. It's just, when you find your niche, it makes it hard for you to leave. And then make the decision to leave. And it's been emotional.
you know, I told my players, I told them on Tuesday morning, talked to Dr. Littleton, told her, and then I didn't tell really anybody else. Told a couple of, you know, my closest friends, and you just don't want to tell people because you want your players to hear it from you before they hear it from anybody else. My players deserve that. And I talked to my players just right over there in the gym, and it was emotional. I mean, it was just very hard to tell them that I'm moving on, and you want them to realize it's not because of them. And I told them, I said, girls, y'all got a whole lot better chance of going to the state tournament before I do. You know, it's nothing about that. Just a new opportunity, a new challenge. These girls, they love challenges. They know how much I love a challenge. And it just reminds me of when I came here. You know, over there's some talented kids. There's, I mean, really talented players, just like there was in line for when I got this job. They gave up 70 points 10 times last year. I think they gave up 70 points 6 or 7 times the year before I got there. I'm going into my 13th year, and as a coach, I've had teams give up 70 points. I told them 8 times. So these girls are going to have to really buy into the defensive, you know, just a different philosophy. But when I look at them, I mean, it is honestly like looking at my last year's team, because they're so hungry to win because they haven't. So they're like, so it, you know, it's kind of that, and what I need to do really is just pack my juniors and seniors up off this year's team and take them to Stone, because they could really help them out. And I'll tell you, these girls made me cry for a full week. You know, I tell them, and then I see them the next day, and it's hard, and then I go see them the next day, and then I leave halfway through the day, and I go meet my other team, and Ashley Johns, as I'm leaving, she gives me a letter to get typed up. And that the girls, we're still lifted. We came from, even though I told them, you know, I resigned, I'm still taking the weight room. They need to be on point for the next coach. And they come in from the weight room and they write a letter to give to my next team. And, you know, they could have been bitter about it. Or they could have been, thank God he's leaving. You know, it just shows the type of team. They were taking care of me by letting them players know what they were getting into. They were taking care of my next year's team. You know, that's the thing. When you go to a new job, those kids don't know what Coach Tibbs expects. You know, every coach's expectation level is different. You know, that letter, I'm going to have it framed in my house. I mean, I'll forever keep it. But I'm going to make a copy of it and put it in the locker room there. Because in just basically in the letter, they described what it's like to play for me. And to me, you know, and at the bottom of it, it said, take care of our coach. To me, they were taking care of next year's team, and just that selfless act of we've taken the time. You know, I didn't ask them to do that. I was kind of wary about it because it was sealed. It had Lady Panthers, and I told Ashley, I said, y'all aren't going to get me fired before I even get to coach them, are you? And they just laughed about it, and they're a special group of girls. And, cried then. I mean, Paige is crying, my wife's crying, you know, at the meeting, and then we get through that, and then Brendan's got a basketball game in Florence, Alabama, and we go down there, and lo and behold, at the same gym we're playing with. I hadn't got to even see Haley yet to tell her, and I told her through text. I text Becca Brody, I text Becca Curtis, I text Abby Laws, I text Elizabeth Hemmon, I text all them. I wanted them to know. But I didn't get to see any of them in person at that time. And then I go in, and Haley Farrington's coaching our future Loretta girls basketball. And I walk in, and then Haley sees me, and she starts crying. So then I start crying. Julia Huntley, who, you know, I've known, I guess it's about the time she was in 1st or 2nd grade. She plays her game and has a great game, and she's walking off. And I'm sitting on the baseline, and all of a sudden she's literally boo-hooing. So I'm in a gym at Mars Hill. You know, the strangers walking by me, and I'm crying, you know. So it was a week worth of me crying. I told my players at Stone Memorial, I said, see, my other players are getting back at me. They're making me look like a wuss in front of y'all, sitting here crying when I didn't get introduced. But just a special group of girls. And I told Sabri, I said, I'll always be your coach. I'm your coach this year. I'm just not getting to actually coach you. And but I'll be keeping up with them. And these girls will be just fine. The one thing about these girls is the way they buy in. that can be a tradition. They'll buy, whoever this next coach is, they're going to do a lot of things better than I am, better than I do. And they'll do some things worse than I do. That's just human nature. But, these girls will buy into them, and because that's just the type of kids they are. And I hope that all Loretta does for the next coach what they've done for me. Because, and I hope I get that at Stone Memorial. This far I have. It's just, that's what I would ask, because for Loretta to go forward, it's going to have to be just the way it is for my 7 years. Not everybody liked the way I coached. Not everybody's going to like the way the new coach coaches. Just, I know from my being that the Loretta people are not going to get in their way from doing it, because if they would have, we wouldn't have had the success that we've had over the last 7 years. Turning the program around and getting to where the girls got it to. So I'm looking forward to keeping up with Loretta, and we'll be back visiting. And then I hope people keep track of Stone, because I wouldn't be going there if we hadn't had the success that we've had here, and I know my players will be, and I know my players are going to know, Lordy, what Stone Memorial's players are going through. My gosh, I saw last night where Stone gave up 75 and got beat 30. I feel sorry for those kids.
They know what's happening.
They know. My players, Coach Ritter talks about it all the time. My players could run a practice for me. They could. We struggle with something that night. They know what we're working on the next day. They could run my practice for me, and they know the expectations. We don't take days off. We don't. We get enough days off on a Good Friday or this and this and this fall break. We don't take days off, and that's the way we run our program. That's why it takes a special group of girls to play for us. It's not not everybody can play. And so my girls, they'll know what Stone Memorial is going through, and it's going to take us a while. It's not going to be solved overnight, and but it's a challenge I'm looking forward to. But always going to look back to coming from Loretta. And I want to say this: every time Brendan and I come, not every time, but a lot of times, Brendan and I are coming back through into Loretta, because we've made that track a lot over 7 years. He'll read the sign and it says, "Loretta, a great place to live." And he'll quote that, and he'll say it. And then he'll say, "Daddy, it is." It is. So it's always going to be a special place for us. And, it was home to Brennan, 7 years when he was 4, and it was just me, him, and I. And so it's always going to be a special place, and I appreciate most of all my players putting up with me. And they taught me probably more than I taught them. I'm a better coach now, a much better coach now than what I was 7 years ago when I came. And hopefully, I'm looking forward to taking that and starting over. Sometimes it's easier to start over, so I'm looking forward to taking that to Stone. And I appreciate the community, appreciate you guys, appreciate all the friends I've had here, and Mr. Daniels for hiring me, all the principals I've had. I've got special memories with all of them. Mr. Daniels hired me. He came to visit me a few days after I resigned. I think the world of him. Mr. Wright, who was here for a year, Brendan lost his first tooth in his office. We went in, I think we were saying bye to him because he only stayed 1 year. I think we were in there saying bye, and Brendan had a loose tooth and lost it in there saying bye to Mr. Wright. Mr. Augustine, Andy Augustine had my back. The most difficult time I had here was one of the years that Mr. Augustine was here, and he had my back. And rightfully so, I will say that, but he did have my back when not all administrators would have that. And then Dr. Littleton is just going to be a great principal here for a long time. I mean, she's done an amazing job in her first chance at being an administrator, and her and Coach Swan are going to do great things here. And the best for Loretta girls basketball and the school is coming. I mean, I really believe that, and I hope that our last 7 years is what we've done, is we've helped get it to that standpoint, and I just appreciate everything. Look forward to coming back and visiting whenever we do get gone.
I know I speak for Kyle and everybody that's been a part of Mustangs TV. I only had 1 full year, and I got spoiled.
Right.
But we appreciate the time. We appreciate, you know, after the games and half times, the insight, the time. You know, a lot of times we would speak off camera, off interview, and discuss different things. And you know, you never shut us down. You're always, you know, big win, tough loss. You know, you're always there. You always made the players accessible. And that goes a long way because it lets us in on the inside.
Right.
And, you know, we're fortunate enough to bring it to everybody. And I can say, you know, I never had more fun doing what we got to do this year. Me and Kyle sitting there on the front row of the state tournament, and it's surreal. Right. And, you know, we hope to do it again. And, you know, of course, we wish you nothing but the best. And I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm just going to say the next time. Right. And we're going to follow and keep track. And of course, you know, I speak for many people where, you know, you'll always be welcome here, and we just want to say thanks for giving us the time tonight and all the time over the last 7 years, and wish you nothing but the best.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Kyle.